Good morning, and thank you for being here today. I'm Chief Al Jones. Over the past 5 weeks, Arlington Police Department responded to several high-profile incidents, including multiple homicides. I want to be clear, as a community, we are not going to accept or tolerate this kind of activity in our city. I also want to assure the community that Arlington Police Department will do everything in its power and to use every available resources that we have to hold those responsible for these crimes. With that, I'm pleased to announce that we have made arrests in 2 of our recent homicides. I'll start out with the first incident that occurred on December 29th. That morning, officers responded to a shopping center in the 6500 block of New York Avenue to investigate what reported was a physical struggle between a man and a woman. When officers arrived on the scene, they found a woman who was later identified as 56-year-old Tho Tatiyu, laying unresponsive on the ground, and she was pronounced deceased at the scene. Through the course of our investigation, we determined that the male pulled up next to the woman in the parking lot and attempted to or grabbed her purse and stole it. As they fought for her purse, we believe the victim fell on the ground and was run over by the suspect vehicle as he fled the scene. When the detectives began investigating the case, we did not have a lot of leads to go on. We had some vague description of the suspect and the suspect vehicle. While homicide detectives spoke with witnesses and reviewed evidence on the scene, our real-time crime center began looking at available cameras in the area. After reviewing footage, they were able to provide investigators with a possible vehicle of interest. Over the next several weeks, detectives were able to build on those leads, and they did some really outstanding police work that led them to a 35-year-old Fernando Taylor. Once they obtained a warrant for Mr. Taylor, our partners at the Houston Police Department located him in their city and took him into custody without incident. He has been charged with 1 count of capital murder and is currently being held in Harris County Jail, where he's waiting for extradition to Tarrant County. Based on our investigation, we believe Taylor followed the victim for at least an hour that morning, the morning of the murder. While it's clear that he intended to rob her, but we still don't know why he targeted that victim. Once he's back here in Tarrant County, our detectives will attempt to interview him. We also made 3 arrests in connection to a murder that occurred on January 19th in the 2200 block of Blue Water Drive. Early that morning, around 12:30, our officers responded to an apartment complex to investigate a report of a fight. When they arrived on the scene, they found a man who was later identified as 51-year-old Frank Kazanika, laying on the ground, and he was brutally beaten. He was transported to the hospital, where he later died from his injuries. I can tell you the victim's injuries were so severe that it took us almost 2 days to positively identify who he was. A witness captured some video, cell phone video of the attack, which showed 3 men assaulting the victim. 2 of them were hitting him repeatedly with a large object. The video also showed a pickup truck and a Ford Mustang that were no longer in the parking lot when the officers arrived. We believe that the suspect left the scene in those 2 vehicles. The detectives recovered the Mustang the next day at an apartment complex about 4 miles away from the crime scene. We learned that it belonged to the victim. We believe the suspects took the victim's Mustang after the attack and dumped it there. Inside, we found several items that belonged to one of the suspects, which helped us to identify him. After further investigation, we were able to identify 3 suspects and obtain warrants for them. Members of our U.S. Marshals North Texas Task Force located the subject here, or located 3 subjects here in Arlington, and took them into custody without incident. Each of them have been booked into the Arlington City Jail on 1 count of capital murder. We'll provide you with the arrest reports that contain all of their names and ages. We are still working to determine why the suspects attacked the victim. Both of these investigations were very complex and required collaboration between many different units and law enforcement agencies to solve. I am incredibly proud of the dedication, the professionalism, and the efforts shown by the employees who worked on these cases. That included our homicide unit, the real-time crime center, the economics crime unit, our community action team, patrol, and our net team. We want to make the family, well, we want the victim's family to get the justice that they deserve. We want our community to feel safe. And I could say, or I think a lot of people will rest easier tonight, thanks to the hard work of the men and women of the Arlington Police Department. With that, I'll open it up to some questions.
In regards to the homicides last week at the Child and Youth Department, is there any progress on that?
Yes, that investigation is still being worked. I can tell you, after speaking with the detectives, they have made some progress. Unfortunately, we haven't made an arrest on it, but we are making progress in the right direction.
Is there any reason to believe other people might be in danger with some of these? It was a group that beat up that second gentleman over there. I mean, is there any reason that people should be worried, or do you feel like?
No, I think that was an isolated incident. What I really want to drive home. I know that we've had a lot of incidents over the last month, and that could give you the perception that crime is up here in Arlington. That is furthest from the truth. If we can compare 2023 numbers to 22 numbers, we're down 17% on violent crime here in the city. So I'm really excited and proud of the work that our men and women have done over the last year, and that we will continue to do.
The 35-year-old that was arrested in Houston, do police know if he came from Houston to commit the crime, or did he flee to Houston?
He came from Houston. He came from Houston the day of, and he found his way to the Arlington City, and he started following this woman around. Like I said, we still don't know why, but he did come from Houston that day.
And how about for the later departments, the people who were arrested in connection with the beating? Were they from Arlington?
Well, there's a combination of both. One of the gentlemen had an apartment, or used to rent an apartment in that same apartment complex, which he had moved out. Right now, we believe that they were staying somewhere in Fort Worth.
Chief, on the first homicide, the woman who was targeted, you said you didn't have much to go on initially. Can you talk again about what actually led you to this suspect?
First, it's the great work of the men and women of the Arlington Police Department. Our real-time crime center zeroed in on a vehicle that they came across, and they passed that lead on to our homicide detectives. Our homicide detectives really worked night and day for about 2 or 3 weeks to get that person in custody. What I want, and I want to stress this because I think it's important, we talked about it a couple weeks ago about Connect Arlington. It's about making sure that we use our technology. We start using cameras across the city. And that's why it's important for our residents to register their cameras, because this is how we can actually solve crime as a city together. And I always talk about crime is not just a police issue, it's a community issue.
So that vehicle was noted near that scene?
Yes, ma'am.
On that first incident, do you know if he had like a criminal record?
Yes, he did.
And do we know, initially you guys thought that the victim had come from a bank. Is that still the case?
No, actually, after our detectives started tracking down where she went, no, she didn't come from a bank. He just followed her from our city to a couple of other places around.
Is there any concern that this is a AAPI hate crime?
No, not at all. I think it was just a crime of opportunity.
To talk about the arrest in Houston, how did that go down? How did you guys, did Houston PD help you? Did Harris County Sheriff's help you?
Yeah, so, once we identified who he was, our folks, our detectives worked with the Houston Police Department and the task with the Gulf Coast Task Force down there to actually track him to get him in custody, yes.
And did he give up willingly, or was there?
Yeah, he got the incident was when they arrested him. It was without incident.
At this point, do you guys know if any of the suspects knew any of the victims in either case?
Not from what we understand now.
The second homicide where the three individuals were seen beating the deceased victim, you said you located those vehicles, and then something inside the vehicles led you to the suspects. Can you say did they leave their identification, or
It was a cell phone. So I think that they left a cell phone in there.
The affidavit that will be released to you has more information on that.
How is a capital murder decided versus a murder charge?
First, you're talking about the brutality of it. You're talking about history. There's a lot that goes into determine whether it's capital murder. For the first one, not only do you have a homicide, but you also commit a robbery during it. That's part of it. And then you're talking about, so there's a lot of different things that go into determining whether it's going to be a capital murder or just a regular murder case.
Okay, we have our homicide team here. If you guys have any other questions?
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Detective Crystalline Robinson. That's KRYSTALLYNE. Last name Robinson, ROBINSON. I actually worked the homicide with the victim that was beaten at the apartment complex. So if anybody has any questions, I'll take those now.
Did you interview all three of the suspects in that case?
Yes, I did.
so those vehicles that were discovered, which kind of seemed to snowball everything from there, were the vehicles just happened upon, or how were they discovered?
They were discovered through our real-time crime center. They were able to track them through cameras, honestly, is how they were able to track them down.
So technology plays a large part in your investigations, but also is there any message for citizens, for people who go about every day and don't feel like they would be of any kind of assistance in something like that? What would you say to people about being on guard, being alert, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. Technology is very much so a very large portion of our investigations. Like Chief Jones said, definitely having cameras is vital to us. Even if you, as a citizen, you don't think it's important, it can be important to us. Anything that you see, hear, obviously being aware of your surroundings, it's very important. All of those things are very important to our investigations.
They could probably expand, but I think it's safe to say that cameras that we had access to were instrumental in both of the arrests.
Absolutely.
Is there still work going on to try and determine why the one in Harris County targeted the one?
Yes, that is still going on. Like Chief Jones said, we believe that to be a crime of opportunity.
So he just drove from Houston and started looking around for someone easy to rob?
That's possible. I don't know. I didn't work that case, so I don't know the answers to those questions.
And you're still trying to figure out a motive for your case as well, right, of why they beat this man?
Well, I can tell you what we think is that this was over a car accident that could have occurred. I can't be 100% positive about that, but based on our investigation, that's what we think.
The brutality sounds just overwhelming.
It's very brutal. It's a hard video to watch, and it's a very brutal murder.
Did those suspects have priors? I don't know if someone else has before.
One of them did, but the other two did not.
All right. Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.